All right, guys. COVID cabal. COVID cabal. COVID cabal. Straight off the dating relationship Periscope, guys. I have to just do very very quick. Most of you guys saw it already, but just real quick. We did Pinot Grigio from Alto Adige today. Okay, standard Pinot Grigio, all same producer. Standard Pinot Grigio. South, very good territory in the south, very warm. Mid slope, very good territory in the north. And the verdict, obviously this was the most basic one. The verdict. Let's go to the verdict. The verdict's this one. These two are both great, but this one edges it out a little bit. So if you guys want to get these Pinot Grigios, recall Pinot Grigio is the wine of Alto Adige, the top wine. We did a lot of other ones from there, but we didn't do Pinot Grigio. So guys, for our COVID cabal today, we do have some questions. I'm going to try to get to these questions, but I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that, we don't have a ton of news updates, but I want to make 2 points here. First point is that if you're not starting to understand what's going to happen on Wednesday, well, it's time to wake up. Okay? It's time to wake up because they're starting to wake up. You have Joe Biden asking for specific Marine Guard for him. Military refused. You have them saying, we don't trust that the National Guard doesn't have Trump supporters, so we need to have them, have their weapons and ammunition removed. Denied. Okay? I have on very good authority that military bases around this country, particularly on the Canadian border, are being reactivated. Okay, now being filled with troops. They've been shut down since the Cold War, pretty much. And they're all getting put up now. They're all getting filled up with troops. You have to ask yourself why this stuff is happening. Why are there so many soldiers in DC? Why are there soldiers all across the border? Why are they reactivating military bases? Okay? Director of National Intelligence today, I believe it was today, said that basically saying that China interfered with the U.S. election. Okay? So, look, we can talk about all these little details here. We can talk about, Patriot missiles, is that BS? I don't know anything about that. Okay, I don't know anything about it. But you have to pay attention to your heart here. What do you feel is going on? Are they doing this stuff because they are trying to stop Trump? It doesn't make any sense, guys. You have to start to use your fucking head. I'm not saying you guys. You guys are already using your head. But people who are lurking, people watching this, use your fucking head. We know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. They are daring Biden to walk into the Capitol and get inaugurated. They're daring them to walk into a prison. It's all this wine, guys. That's what does it. Wine will grow your beard in. They are daring. Yeah, security firm operations titled Checkmate. Remember what Q said, checkmate. Right around this time period, checkmate. Okay, he's daring them to walk inside this area. Now they might decide not to do it, and they might try to green screen it. It doesn't matter, as we've heard they're going to take the media down soon thereafter if they do that, because they'll have literally filmed a fake inauguration, which is a massive crime. So they lose all their licenses. We have a couple, if you look at the chessboard right now, you know what their stuff looks like. If you look at the chessboard, okay, they've got China, which is a piece. They've got Iran, which is a very, very minor piece. Okay, very, very minor piece. They have. Hey, I'm glad. I hope you enjoy these wines. They have Antifa, BLM, rioters. That's like pawns, pretty much, easy to take out. And you have the only real piece that's big is the media. But in order to protect their king, because their king right? The queen was taken out a long time ago. Their king is about to be taken out. Their king's in check. And so they're going to have to put the media in a position to block the check, which means that their last big piece is going to get taken off the board. And then they're going to be anyway in checkmate soon thereafter because they will have no blocking forces. So we are going to see the media collapse in the next 1 to 2 weeks. All right? And we already feel this all happening. We already feel it happening. The media narrative doesn't make any sense. I think we will get EBS. We'll get something. CBS was taken down today, guys. You realize that? CBS was taken down. And I've heard some rumors. Yeah, CBS went down on the East Coast. Test runs. And I've heard some rumors that Amazon's main data center was on fire today. So everything's happening. Everything's happening. Things are happening, whether you actually want to believe it or not. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's happening. And we're going to have to wait to see this stuff. But the evidence is really, 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 really suggesting that we are correct now. Because you can be told over and over again that Biden's going to get inaugurated on Wednesday, but you can't pull into that pattern how any of this other stuff makes sense. You can't do it. You can't explain all these other things that are occurring with that narrative. It doesn't match. Okay? You know, so yeah, no one can mentally see it. Now, I do want to tell you about one thing that they could do. And it might be one of the last cards that they have to play. And I think it's one of the reasons why there's also so much security in the area is that they may try to just kill Biden. False flag and assassination on Biden. Because this is not a big deal to them. Biden, assuming it's even like the real Biden, right? Biden was going to be replaced anyway. They were going to kill him off anyway because he's not the one who they want to have the position. Dude didn't even know where the fuck he was on stage. So their intention would be that they would kill him and then they would blame it on some Trump supporter. And that would make it difficult for the military to do anything. Not that the military wouldn't, but remember their goal right now. I think people need to really look at this correctly. This is a dying animal, okay? So they're dangerous because a dying animal with horns is going to jump around, buck around, could kill you. As it's dying, it could kill you, right? It could hurt you. And so what we're trying to do is not let this dying animal injure anybody as it goes through its death throes. That's the reason for the plan. That's the reason for the containment around it. We are trying to control demolition their system because if we just, it's easy to demolish. There's not much to it, but if we demolish it incorrectly, people are going to get hurt. It's going to be harder to wake people up. So we're trying to do the least amount of damage possible. Their goal, thus, is not necessarily even to win. I mean, of course they want to win, but they kind of know on a certain level they're not winning. But the whole thing here is that if they were to kill Biden, they could really create tons of chaos. I mean, you saw how big it was with the Capitol, how big of a thing they made out of that. There are people who are even still like good people who don't usually get tied up in politics who got psyoped by that. So the maximum damage they can do is the better because why is that? Because they depend on fear and anger and all this stuff to low vibration stuff to keep them thriving. Normies literally take it for granted. They're like, oh, well, first off, they don't even know. They don't even think anything of it. They don't see the patterns. And if you were to tell them, well, this person died, why did all these people die at the same time? They'll say, stop being a conspiracy theorist. He was having problems with his wife. He was sick. He had a heart attack. It's like they'll just accept whatever explanation's given without saying, hey, wait a minute. Coincidence is pretty crazy here. No, you're just a conspiracy theorist. Okay. Okay. So it ain't happening for them. It ain't happening for them. But they very well might try to do this, and so it'll be interesting to see how this happens, how this all occurs, because if they can get a Biden assassination, then that'll give them a lot of perceived political capital in order to make some moves. But the truth is, guys, the truth is that the military knows exactly what these people are doing, knows exactly all the money that they've been getting from China, and they are not going to let them take power. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Take it, as you know, as 107 says, right? Take it to the bank. It's not going to happen. And they might try to do a hard military coup, but the reality is that the military could then disclose information. I mean, it'd be messy. I'm not saying that they won't, which is why, if look, I'll be honest, if I was in their shoes, I'd be like, how do we kill Biden and make it look like a Trump person did it? If I was in their shoes, that's what I'd try to do. Probably the only thing that they can do at this point. So ironically, we're going to try to be protecting Biden. Well, some people have claimed that the military already has taken control, and that we've been in a state of war for a while, and that you know, so we could be seeing a situation where this stuff is just simply presented out into the open. There's another thing going around recently that's talking about how, because the American corporation has been closed, one of the reasons that Trump won't be inaugurated on the 20th is because that date doesn't matter, because that date was changed. I don't know which amendment, maybe the 23rd Amendment changed the date. And so the original amendment to the Constitution, the original Constitution said March 3rd, right? March 3rd or March 4th. So that's when Trump's going to be inaugurated, because we're going back to whatever this different time. I mean, to be honest, the change to January made a lot of sense. I don't know if you know the history about that. I don't really care that much to get into it. It's kind of boring, but basically, the government was not even functioning for the first 3 months because of the travel with Congress. How do I put this exactly? It made sense before because it took people months to travel across the country and to get affairs in order. And that by the industrial age, it was becoming ridiculous, because you'd have about 3 months where the government there was no real Congress activating. So that's why they changed it. So it actually made a lot of sense. Look, if some of the guys on here might like it, but if we were going by that same logic, then women don't vote. Women can't vote. Every amendment after the 15th Amendment would no longer be valid. So I don't really know if that's the case. That's what's going on. I don't really know that that's the issue at hand here, especially because my guess is that we won't see a Trump sort of clarity until later in March, not the 3rd or 4th. But we'll see. Who knows? I think that the real thing here is that you have Prometheus, which is a military guideline that, in the event of a situation exactly like this, where you have the next president coming in is not legitimate and there needs to be an investigation, he's a security threat, that power will continue to be held by the prior president, unless he chooses to step aside. And my guess is that Trump will choose to step aside. And I don't know if that's a de jure or de facto decision, but I believe that we are going to have military rule, because the optics need to be that Trump is not involved with this. This country, including the lefties, and they're going to lose their shit when this happens, but they are not going to want. They still have respect for the military, in the sense that they think the military is going to do what they want. But they're already going to have a really hard time with this. And anything that smacks of Trump and the military together is not going to be good. So Trump is going to go to a military base, Castle Rock, which might be Cheyenne Mountain. Remember the Stargate, Cheyenne Mountain? Might be Cheyenne Mountain. and he's going to be out of the picture for about 2 months. That's what I think. He's going to be out of the picture for 2 months. And the military is going to be dealing with this shit. And believe you me, the military is not giving up any power here, because the military's job is to protect this country, and they understand very clearly the China threat. The CCP has infiltrated this country. The CCP is on the borders to an extent. Now, people have given numbers of troops that are on the borders. I don't really believe that literally. I don't think that there's hundreds of thousands of CCP troops on the borders. But this country is under serious threat. And guys, I really want you to be cautious about this, but we are going to be seeing kinetic action against China. Do not doubt we are going to be seeing kinetic action against China. Maybe it's rods of gods, maybe it's direct energy weapons, but China is the bastion of the cabal, and the CCP knows they're going down. You're going to see the Iranian regime collapse, and you're going to see the Chinese regime collapse by the time this is all over. But, there could be Chinese nuclear submarines attempting to go off the coast to launch nuclear missiles. Space Force is on high alert with this stuff. Thank God we have Space Force. Thank God we have it. So, but be prepared for some sort of nuclear scare in the coming time period. We are going to be safe because we have Space Force. Space Force was a big deal because that's the thing. They don't care about that. They have all these bunkers. They don't care about mutually assured destruction because they were going to kill off most of the population of this planet anyway. They are going down. So we don't want to nuke the Chinese people either. The Chinese people are not the enemy. It's the CCP that's the enemy. It's mostly cyber warfare. But there is going to be definitely, there is going to be some attempted nuclear situation. No doubt about it. But I don't think that they're going to be able to pull it off. I don't think we're on that timeline. We're safe. We're insulated. So look, it's going to be crazy. Now, I want to talk about some things briefly here. I want to talk about the role of the negative. Okay, so we have all this sort of, and I find myself falling into all this sort of resentment and fuck these evil people, fuck their plan, fuck their bullshit. But the reality is that we have to be grateful to them on a certain level. On a higher level, we can hold a bit of gratitude because we would not be understanding what we understand if it were not for them. Okay, they're creating a contrast point for us in order for us to see higher truths, in order for us to evolve. That's amazing that you met Martin. That's so cool. I would love to meet Martin when I'm in Europe. I'd love to meet him. Which, by the way, guys, I'm sticking around longer. Another 2 months. I probably won't be leaving until after Easter because, you know what? I just can't leave until this is seen through. I can't leave. I know that I can't leave. I can't. I need to be grounded where the action is. So I'm moving to Europe. I have an apartment in Poland. It's getting finished, but I'm probably not going to go till after Easter now. I was supposed to leave probably late February. It's not going to happen that early. Half the population will see past Trump once the media is taken down. The media has to be taken down. The media matrix has to be dismantled. And I do think that we're going to see most people recover. But there will be a significant number that won't, and we will see a lot of suicides and a lot of deaths. And it's going to be rough. But we have to have some gratitude because they are really teaching us things. They're really teaching us some things. So look, I'm going to answer some questions. in the remaining 15 minutes or so that I have here. I'm moving to Poland because I wanted to move to Poland, and my wife's Polish, so mixing it up, mix it up. I actually don't know who you're referring to when you say they, um, but don't worry about it. I don't think you miss anything too serious. So look, some of these, I think because I said I was doing dating relationship Q&A, I got a lot of COVID cabal Q&As. I'll just say very quickly about the Polish government. I've said this before, but I'll reiterate it because that was a couple months ago. The Polish government, if I was Polish, I was a Polish citizen, I would vote for the current government. I would vote for peace because peace is not cabal. Okay? Now, because they're in the EU, they have to deal with the cabal and they don't have a lot of power relative to the cabal. They can only do a certain amount of things. But they, along with Viktor Orban in Hungary, and I think, frankly, the protection of Hungary and Poland kind of protect each other diplomatically, that they are important, right? I would vote for the government. The government is nationalist, and I think we need a healthy dose of nationalism. Okay? Love all people across the world, but part of loving people across the world is loving their own distinct cultures and their own distinct people and their own distinct genome. And it's the same thing as if you were to flood Nigeria with Japanese people and turn it into Japan. Right? There's not a lot of Japanese people, but if you were to do that, I mean, that would be awful, but that's not fair to Nigeria, right? So you have to think about this respect for nations across the world. Poland, has that, and peace government has these fundamental aspects of awareness in mind with its policy. All that said, the government is absolutely retarded. They are so stupid. They are terrible at governing the country. They are terrible at governing the country. I mean, some of the worst political instincts, like you look at Trump, and Trump is a genius in how he's been able to navigate all these things. The Polish government, all they understand is smash. That's all they do. They will get rid of programs that are perfectly good for no reason just because the other party had it. And they burn tons and tons of political capital in the process. So very frustrating to look at them. And whenever I hear Polish people complain about peace, I totally empathize because they act like total idiots. But my perspective is that we have plenty of time for stupid things like we're going to change the grade school structure. That's not going to destroy Poland. But, if you were to flood Poland with, 10 million migrants, that could destroy Poland, right? If you were to, so I have to look at things in different perspectives. I have to be able to accept a lot of stupid governance because of the strategic purpose. They're tactically bad, strategically correct. Love an intelligent party in Poland, but we don't have that at the moment. We just have corruption and idiocy. That's basically it. So I'm going to answer some of these questions because I was supposed to answer them the other day, and I think it's important to get through this stuff. So, let me see this stuff here. All right. How did this happen? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. One second. All right. Here we go. So, what's your take on Bannon, cabal or not? On one hand, it seems like his tough approaches are what helped Trump break through the establishment in the first election. On the other hand, with his ties to Brock Pierce, Bitcoin billionaire and pedo ring leader, and Epstein, it seems like he's deep, deep swamp. What are your thoughts? Okay, so my thoughts on Bannon. Bannon is definitely not cabal. Okay, Bannon is not cabal. And how do we know Bannon's not cabal? Because Bannon is being banned from every single thing he tries to do because he's talking about taking down these fuckers nonstop. Now, Bannon is, Bannon I think prefers his hard liquor, but Bannon is a drinker himself. I hope I don't get the Bannon nose. I hope I don't get the Bannon nose. But Bannon is more of a media personality. Bannon is somebody who likes to fight really dirty. Now Trump fights dirty, but Trump is really about the art of war, the deception. My wife is Polish. She's Polish, full on Polish. Um, she left Poland when she was 18, and she moved to the UK, and then she moved to the US when we got married, basically. So yeah, she's Polish citizen, and in the process of gaining American citizenship as well, but everything's really clogged up. So ja mogę mówić po polsku. Tak, ja mogę. You know, uh, każdego dnia ćwiczę się języka polskiego i mam lekcję każdego tygodnia. Moja nauczycielka i rozmawiamy i ćwiczamy gramatyczne i so I'm going to be okay in Poland. My Polish is going to be pretty good, actually. So Bannon, though, is not Cabal. He's not Cabal. Bannon just does his own thing, and Bannon is not somebody who would work with a plan that's not his. Bannon's plan is, let's smash these motherfuckers. Let's take him out on the street. Let's smash him. Right? He's a rabble rouser. And good on him. Good on him. But he's not somebody who you want to have inside a administration that's a special operations administration. He's got too big of a personality. He's got too big of his own vision. He's someone you want on the outside, but he's not Cabal. Look, he's probably been involved with some unsavory characters. If you're an intelligent, successful person, you've been around them. I mean, Trump was around some of these people. It doesn't mean you like their shit. There are people in Hollywood who have even been to Pedo Islands, and they've been the people who have been ratting out the other Hollywood celebrities because they got sick. They left as soon as they could, but they were there, and people would say that they were associated with them. So we have to be very cautious about this stuff. You have to use your heart. Bannon is not, frankly, even I don't know about Dershowitz is definitely bang kids, okay? But I think Dershowitz doesn't want to be involved with these people anymore. And I think Dershowitz is trying to look for some sort of deal. He's really trying to associate himself with the good guys, even though we know Dershowitz has done some pretty fucked up stuff. And so it remains to be seen what kind of deal he's going to get. I heard pedos are not getting a deal. It remains to be seen with Dershowitz. But, as things became clear who was in charge, people have chosen. And there are some people who have been even associated with them who have flipped. But I don't think Bannon was ever bad. Never get that impression. Exactly. Flynn pretends to be this sort of milquetoast dude, whereas really he's incredibly intelligent. He pays attention to everything. Yes, Bannon is a propagandist. That's exactly what he is. That's why, by the way, BAP loves Bannon. That's why BAP watches War Room Pandemic all the time, because BAP loves propaganda. BAP is a propagandist. Okay? I am not a propagandist. Or am I? My propaganda is at least different. So, next question. Thank you for your work this year. I've been watching the Periscope since March, and you've opened my eyes to what's been going on in the world. Question. My 26-year-old sister received the Pfizer vaccine last week as she works in a hospital in the UK, in administration, not frontline. I only recently came out to my family as anti-lockdown and anti-mRNA vaccine, but they are very brainwashed by the MSM narrative saying the opposition is selfish. My sister admits the vaccine does not stop transmission, but this has not made her question the rationale for her receiving it. Right now, I'm feeling guilty at not having raised an alternative point of view with my family earlier or more strongly. In this case, this case would have changed her mind. I didn't realize she was getting the vaccine so quickly. And anger at the establishment for using medical field workers for their propaganda and as guinea pigs. To me, there seems to be a sacrificial element to this. I don't see the value in arguing any further now that she's had the first dose and is clearly a strong believer, and this is only likely to damage our relationship. Do you have any advice for managing or releasing my emotions over this? Okay. So look, I've mentioned this before. I have family members who are lined up for the vaccine. Some of whom who are pregnant line up for the vaccine. Okay, passed on the information. It's been passed on through channels. People know my perspective. They think I'm insane. Think I'm insane, and they also think maybe they think even worse than that. Look, this is tough. It's tough to hear, but we are not here to save people who don't want to be saved. If you are of the light, you will have an impulse to want to help people. That's just the truth. You will have the impulse to want to help people. But the reality is that you can't help people who don't want to be helped. And by actually trying to help them when they don't want to be helped, you're violating their free will. This is tough because we have a lot of programming that you're selfish, but this is all guilt programming. It's all guilt programming. It's actually designed to keep positively polarized people in a very low position. Yeah, it's totally applicable to dating relationships. If you're of the light, all you can do is offer people choices. Okay? And I do think that there's some value in expressing to people your perspective, at the very least implicitly, so that if they do have a question, they can come to you and they know that they can come to you. I think that there's value in that. But it's not your job to save them. And you should feel zero guilt about their choices. Zero guilt about their choices. They have decided to take this path to polarize in the direction that they are polarizing. Yeah, you can't reason someone out of something they didn't get reasoned into. Exactly. They believe this stuff. They don't want to check it themselves. They don't want to ask themselves these questions about, you know, the money behind it, the agenda behind it. They don't really care about that. They don't want to care about the science behind it. And so there is no point in you putting yourself out there because whatever happens, and hopefully nothing happens, right? Hopefully nothing happens to them. But whatever consequences occur are their choice, their decision, not yours. You have to let them go. Let them go. So releasing your emotions over this is, I would really, not to be cliche, but I would really pray about it and just give up those emotions because you are a good person and you are in your own way spreading the light. But arguing with people over their path is taking you off your path. So at this point, think about what you can do on your own to spread the light, to spread a positive awareness of these issues. Look, there are people in my family who are going to get very upset when they're like, wait, they don't want to see me, but then maybe some of them do want to see me. And they're going to get very upset that I don't want to see them. And the reason I don't want to see them is not that I don't love them. It's that I don't have any interest in arguing with them. I don't care about their dissonance. They can watch these periscopes and they can make up their own mind about things. They can decide to do their own research. They can decide to trust their heart. I don't care about getting into a conversation. It's like, how can you say this? Because this, I don't, fuck off. I don't care. I don't care. You are allowed to make your own choice. I am not going to be in resistance to you. Be in resistance to somebody else. Don't be in resistance to me. The information's out there. So look, that's all I can cover tonight. Got to go down to dinner. We got a couple more questions. We'll keep tackling them this week. We won't have the dating relationship periscope tomorrow, so we'll have a standard, longer COVID cabal. Guys, fingers crossed. Tomorrow, we're going to start to get some drops. But at the very least, we know that Wednesday's a day. Whether it happens Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, doesn't matter. But we know that we're going to start to see some stuff by Wednesday. So Keep the light going. Much love to all of you, as always. And I will see you soon. Energy is coming back, isn't it?